Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today is April 24, and this meeting is for our real estate agents, and we're going to get started with our interest rates. Interest rates, according to Freddie Mac, as of last week, they were hovering above 7%. So 7.1 was your average that we saw, according to Freddie Mac. And for your 15 years, 6.39. Right? Not a lot of mortgages are going through 15 years, but there's few investors or people with good income or have enough income that can cover that for 15 years. They're going with that. But for a normal, regular client looking for a 30-year mortgage, they're looking around 7.38. 7.38. So as a real estate agent, client asks you, hey, what do you think the interest rates are? Hey, they're above 7% right now, right? Should I buy right now? It's up to you. Are you financially ready or not? At the same time, if you want to wait, I can't force you to buy a house right now because it's your, decision to make. But at the same time, it is on the higher end. If I can find you a good property, we can put in an offer. You can build some equity over the years. If not, if you simply want to wait 6 months, a year, it's your call, but the prices will be on the higher end. Okay. 7.3 is definitely, we have seen the trend going below 7%, and it was feeling good around, we saw as low as 6.7, but right now it's going the opposite direction. So we have 7.38 as of yesterday, and as of this morning, the next change we should see is about an hour or so. Okay. So the question that most people get, especially those files are ready to close, is that why should I, do a rate lock today? Should I wait another week or two? Some people have that liberty where they can wait, right? Because the seller is not ready and the interest rates are on the high end, and they say, hey, I'm gonna wait a couple of weeks and see if it comes down. On the other hand, the seller is already ready to close, right? And the contract that you have signed or your client have signed is already past those 60 days, right? Now they have to do a rate lock. I don't think there's much option for those clients. But if your client can wait and see what the Fed meeting has to do, gives us the stats next week and go from there. But on the other hand, like I said, there are some clients who are ready to close, still locking in the rates, right? So why you may not want to lock your rate right now? Because the rates are high, right? We have seen that week over a week. Rates could fall. There's no guarantee. It might go even higher, but we're projecting that it should fall in coming weeks, coming months, but we don't know how much, right? There are some experts, they're saying that first we might hit around 8% and then come down. Some of them said that no, that is already done in last November, right? So there's so many different point of views. So there are some clients of yours might be stuck on the listing side or the buyer side, and they want to close their file, but they simply don't want to lock in that high interest rate. So we just have to be understanding on that note that here, the interest rates are on the higher end as of today. Okay. And just know that the locks are limited. So it's not like you can lock your rate and it stays there forever. No, usually you're locking it for 30 days. Some people will do it 15 days when they're sure that their closing will happen in next week or two. On the other hand, majority of them will do it 30 days. One of the questions that we get is that, hey, I locked the rate, the rate lock is expired now, I want to extend it. Who should pay for that? Always find out as a real estate agent whose fault is it? Is it the seller side delaying the closing, or is it the buyer? If it's the seller side, then the buyer's attorney should be fighting with the seller's attorney and saying, hey, we have to extend this closing date, and the rate is already locked and has been expired. Now it's going to cost $500 or $600 to do a rate lock for another 15 days, and we want to penalize you for that. And this is where the attorneys come in. Okay. Next, guys, the settlement, right? There was a settlement that there was a lawsuit regarding our commissions, and the settlement had an update as of yesterday. This is the first update that we received in a couple of weeks now, where the judge actually approved the settlement right now, right? So it's still in the first stage where the first judge has approved the settlement, meaning those changes that we were talking about where you will not see the commission on MLS anymore, and you would have to get a written agreement with your buyers, right? Those things will come true in coming months. It's still not finalized. It's still approved from one judge. It's still going to the committee, and I believe in November or December of this year, November of this year, we will find out exactly what is going to happen. Okay, but just know it went to the next stage. Maybe you guys received this email from NAR's president as of yesterday, and it was saying exactly what we're talking about. That there was a primarily approval in the settlement, simply saying that the first judge actually has approved it, and now we will see further down the line. Okay, so the reason for these meetings is to train you guys, to tell you guys, hey, how are we going to prepare ourselves? There are some people in our brokerage who are experts. They need no training, yet they still come to these trainings to get even be better. On the other hand, we have brand new agents who feel like, hey, no, we're not bringing enough value to them, maybe because whatever they're doing. Just know the fact that we can provide you with the tools. The hustle part has to come from you guys, right? Couple of other news sites articles here. One was that despite higher mortgage rates, right, we are seeing on the higher mortgage rate, new sales post a positive solid gain in March. So the new property that's being built, they are selling, guys. Even from February to March, the numbers got better. So we want you to be part of those deals, right? So let me just approve him. So just stay on top of not just the fully renovated houses, but if you see any property that's being built, hey, I don't know, Harjit, you can turn off your camera. Yep. You don't have to have your camera on. Yep, there you go. Thank you. Right. So you can see the full picture. So the mortgage rates are on the higher end, yet the sales are still being happening. How's that happening? Because there are some people who are still tired of, waiting for a couple of years, and they just want to buy now. Be part of those deals, guys. Okay. There's another article saying the same thing, that monthly, yearly jump in new home sales in March, right? In New York City, how many properties that we have seen on each neighborhood that there's at least 2 or 3 new properties being built, right? Some of these guys are knocking down the old properties completely. Some of them are just doing an extension, right? Whatever the case is, get inside that property. If you see a brand new property and you're not visiting that, there's a problem. We want you to get comfortable where you're going, seeing these properties, because that's what you're selling. So if you see that, sometimes you see something online, you don't get those feelings. But when you go inside the property, you're a real estate agent. Nobody's stopping you guys. So see the property. Maybe right away you will have a client or two that will click in. Hey, this is great for this guy, or this is great for this girl, right? But how are you going to know that unless you actually go inside, guys? Okay. Another article here was that most home buyers want one mid-sized home office. So this is what I want you to start paying attention to your clients, right? There's so many clients where the husband or the wife is working from home, either part-time or full-time, right? And now, before they did not care about a home office, now it's really critical that you guys point that out. Maybe the smallest room that you guys see, that, right? The third room, maybe you can tell them, hey, we can convert this into a home office. Right? Just point that out, because the clients are putting in the service that this is what they want. Our real estate agent should be on top of that as well, right? What is the percentage? 66. More than half the people would want a home office now. This was not the case before COVID, guys. This is happening after COVID. So take some action when you're showing them the property. Point these things out, right? It could be a home office or space dedicated for work or study. Okay. This was another article here. We're still in the news section for Inman, and this is buyers, sign a buyer's brokerage agreement to see a property. And the answer is no way, right? This is what the clients are saying. Hey, I'm not going to sign anything. Show me the property. If I like the property, then I'll put in an offer. When I'm putting an offer, then I'll sign your disclosures. That's not going to happen anymore. That game is changing, so we want you guys to be on top of this so you can educate your clients. Hey, in order for me to start working with you, I need to have an agreement signed. You're going to be working exclusively with me and not with 10 other agents. Okay? Over the years, for sure things, our clients will get to know that fact. But people who are just starting out right now, that is the toughest, conversation you're going to have with them. Hey, I'm brand new, but I need to charge you X amount. If you're experienced, you have no problem saying that, hey, I have sold X amount of properties in this neighborhood. I'm going to help you out. This is what I have to offer. This is what I need to get paid. Right? But there's so many buyers who are still confused about these rules. They're not too sure if these rules are in effect or not. But you got to make sure that you're, talking to your client, telling them, hey, in order for me to show you properties, I need to have a brokerage agreement signed with you. Okay. Next, guys, this was another survey done, and this is where I really want you guys to understand what the buyers are thinking, and owners as well. So this survey says that home sellers, which is the homeowners, consider ditching real estate agents. Right? That's what we have for sale by owners. Right? They feel like they can do your job. So now with these changes and everything, maybe they're thinking hey, I don't really need an agent. So what are the percentages here? 79%, which is almost 80% of the people, said agents should be held to stricter ethical standards. That means they simply feel like, hey, Mr. Hassan or Carvin or, Sclaren, when we are showing them properties and working with our clients, they just feel like we're not ethical, right? We have to prove them wrong. We have to do the right thing by them all the time. So how do you build that? We're going to talk about a little bit down the line, how we're going to build trust with them. Okay. 73% of the people think that the agents overinflate the property value, right, for higher commission. So you might say, hey, let's put in an offer for $850, and maybe they wanted to put in an offer for $825. That $25,000 extra, they just feel like you're inflating the price, right? How could we assure of that? By doing our research. Every time I want to put in an offer, I want to check geodata. I want to check RPR. I want to check what's new on the market in that same neighborhood. And I want to see what's sold in that neighborhood for the same specs, right? If I'm looking for a 2-family, 4 bedrooms, I'm comparing those. So you're building trust with them, saying, hey, I'm not just pulling this price out of the air. Here's my research, okay? Next is that 67% of the people think that the agents value profits over their client's best interest, right? We have a fiduciary duty to our clients. That's exactly that. We want to put their client's interest first, right? If you see 2 properties, one property has 1% commission, the other one has 2%, you should let it go and let the client decide which one they actually like, and not force them or tell them, hey, I would say go with this property, knowing the fact that you're going to make higher commission on that, right? Always have your client's best interest first. This is how you're going to be building trust. This is how they're going to stick with you guys, okay? And 46% of the people think that standards of becoming a real estate agent are too low. Meaning you're just taking the classes, you're going, passing a state exam is all multiple choice. It's too easy, right? Anybody can do that. In a sense, we can all agree that, hey, it was not the toughest thing to do was to get our license. The toughest thing to do is to close our first deal. So we have to show our clients that, hey, getting a license is one thing, but actually implementing it, making a living out of it is a completely different ballgame. Okay? So we want to change these things. We want our clients to think that, hey, we're bringing value, because we are bringing value. Right? If you do the right thing, there's plenty of value you can bring as a real estate agent, either from the seller side or from the buyer side. Okay. Next, guys, some of you guys will hear, hey, maybe from a loan officer that, hey, is this your client a prime borrower? So it was one of the terms that came up a couple of times last week. So I wanted to go over that with you guys. So if someone says, hey, is this your client a prime borrower? Your answer should determine by their credit scores and their ability to repay their loan. You guys are real estate agents. Our loan officers have a much better idea on this, but I want you guys to have a gist of it. What is a prime borrower? When you're looking at prime borrowers, you're looking at top notch, meaning their credit scores are really good, above 670 or more, right? On the other hand, if it's a subprime borrower, that means their credit score is not too great, meaning they could be from 580 to 669, right? Anything above 670 credit scores, we consider them as a prime borrower. Okay, most of these prime borrowers are candidates who are most likely to pay the mortgage payments, the loan payments, monthly payments on time and in full, while your subprime borrowers are considered to default on the loans, right? What do you really want your client to buy a house and then default on the loan? They're going to be, really pissed as well because of their financial situation. But if when we see this, when you're talking to a loan officer, just be honest with them if you know the facts about this client, right? Otherwise, your the listing agent is actually contacting the loan officer as well. But every time you're showing your client properties, when you're working with them, hey, just ask these questions. Hey, what does your credit scores look like, right? So what are the benefits of being a prime borrower? So if you are a prime borrower, that means you have good credit scores. You're less risky, right? You're less risky to the clients, to the lenders. So that means your lender approval odds will be higher, meaning you can get a bigger loan, you can get a better terms, you can get better interest rate, right? And the interest savings, as you can mention, because they're less risky, they will have better interest rates. Okay, everybody that you work with will not have great credit scores. Does not mean that we don't want to work with people who don't have good credit scores. Maybe they want to have FHA loan and work on their credit scores down the line. We don't want to ditch them. But at the same time, people who are considered prime, you want to work with them exclusively to get them a deal done as soon as possible because they're solid clients. Okay. So if you want to increase your credit scores, or if you want to be a prime borrower, right, first you need to know where you stand. First, you need to know your credit scores. If your client does not know your credit scores, that means they're not fully ready to purchase a house. Anybody that's thinking about buying a house, they're going to be preparing themselves, right? They pay on time, right? So anytime, if you're not paying your bills on time, you need to make that change. You need to start making sure that you're making payments on time. There's no late payments coming on your credit report. And you want to keep your credit card balances low as possible, right? Whatever your credit limit is, you don't want to use all of that. You want to use as low as possible or try to make it zero on your card balances. Okay. And if you see anything on your credit report that does not belong to you guys, any inaccurate information, take some action on it, right? You can dispute it, and that will help you boost your credit scores. And a person that's going from applying to credit card companies every month is not going to help your credit scores. When you're applying from different credit cards and you're getting declined, your credit scores is actually dropping. Okay. On the other hand, if you want to boost your credit scores, last week's meeting we went through Experian, where we can check your credit report. Now we want to show you Experian Boost, which can help you increase your credit scores right away, right? It's not by huge pounds, but you can do it by 5 points, 10 points, 20 points, just by taking some right action. So if you're on your Experian.com, you will see on the homepage, instantly raise your credit scores for free, right? Why wouldn't someone want to do that? So there's some bill payments when you're making a payment to Netflix, to your Disney Plus or Hulu or HBO, AT&T bill, your Verizon bill. Anytime you're making those payments, right? You're making those payments. You can use Experian, and it will help you boost your credit scores. How does that actually work? Right? So once you have that account with Experian, you're going to connect your bank account with them. And then you're going to select, hey, which bills that you want to pay. You don't have to pay all of them. Maybe just start off with one or two of them. And then you will find out that right away your FICO score has increased, and by how many points. Okay? So these little things will help you guide your clients to the right direction, bring some value to them. Okay? If they head to Experian, this is last week slide here too. The middle piece right here says free credit score. This is how you get your free credit report. If you want to boost your credit scores, Experian Boost. Raise your credit scores instantly. Who wouldn't want to do that? Okay, so guide your clients to do this for free. If they want to take it to the next level and actually hire a company to increase their credit score, we recommend mycreditguy.com. mycreditguy.com. Okay. So how do you know your client is ready to buy a house? One, make sure how does their credit scores look like? Did they save up for their down payment and closing cost? And can they increase their income if they want to buy a bigger house? Right? These are the three things that they always are trying to improve. They want to improve their credit score. Let's say their credit score is at 620, which qualifies them for a conventional loan. But if they take it to 680, that means they will have better terms, better interest rate. Okay. Same thing for your down payment. If they saved up for down payment, that is going directly towards the equity. So if they put down 10%, that means, they have 10% equity. If they put down 20%, that means they already put down 20% as equity. So the more down payment you put down, that's better for you when you're building equity over time, right? A lot of people forget about the closing cost. We have to make sure that they have enough for down payment and closing cost. Okay. If they want to add their spouse to the loan, then obviously that will increase the income, but just make sure to have a conversation that the spouse also meets the same requirements, right, for the credit scores and have enough down payment and closing costs. Okay. You guys can share this chart with anyone that you guys like. This is for Queens County, and this shows you the price ranges or the price timeline from 2022 till 2024. You guys can see that the prices have gone up and gone down, and recently we are seeing it is going to be trending upward again. Why? Because now the springtime is coming, or springtime is already here, so people are already interested in buying, even though interest rates are high. So your job is to put in a price where they can make a deal. If they're going to wait, show them this chart that the prices will go even higher. Okay. This article was pretty interesting for our real estate agents and their clients. It had 19 points. We're not talking about 19 points here. I want to talk about the key points. Number one is your communication, right? When you're trying to communicate with your clients, it can't be just one time thing. It can't be like, hey, I tried to call them, they didn't pick up, so they must be busy, so I'm not going to try again. Right? You're trying to build relationship with your clients, so that communication has to be there. So if they don't pick up, you got to try again. Maybe you try in the morning, try in the afternoon or the evening. So you want to stay up to date with them by communicating. If you have nothing to say, is the properties that you can send them through KV Core. But you're still communicating through text messages every time you're sending them a new property. Right? If they don't reply, does not mean that they don't want to talk to you. They simply maybe are not ready, or they don't like that particular property. So send them another one as soon as you see a new property on the market. Okay. You have to discuss that, agents needs to get paid. And, a lot, like we mentioned, a lot of people are still confused. Hey, do I need to pay my agent? Should I go look for another agent who will ask for less amount or will not ask for anything? Right? That is the conversation you have to have with your clients, right? There's no other way of saying it. There's no other way to sugarcoat this. You have to have a conversation before you show them any properties. Okay. You want to, when you're talking to them, you want to have a list of must-haves and do not wants. Hey, I need to have this and I really don't want that. Whatever that list is, make maybe 5 bullet points on one column and another 5 bullet points for the ones that they really don't want or things that they want you to avoid, right? Whatever those are, make sure you know them. If they're not pre-approved, have them go get a pre-approval. A lot of them are scared that, hey, I don't want to get a pre-approved because my loan officer is going to pull my credit and is going to bring my credit scores lower. You can guide them to Mr. Hassan here or any of our loan officers where he can do a credit pull without doing any hard credit pull. So it could be a soft one, not hurting their credit scores, and still get them a pre-approval. Okay. You want to tell your clients to drive in the neighborhoods at different times of the day, right? They want to be in one particular neighborhood, tell them to drive. Check that out. You can do the research and see how the crime rate is in that neighborhood and how is it, but it's a completely a different ball game when you're actually driving in a different neighborhood on the blocks and everything that you want to be in, right? You want to live in that particular house for the next 5-10 years. Why not do your research beforehand, right? You want to make an offer to a property that meets 80% of your needs, right? You're not going to find your dream house. There's a chance you may, but most likely, if 80% of the things check off for that property, we recommend that you make an offer, right? Because it's 80%, maybe you don't want to make the highest offer. Try, if the property is listed for $600,000, maybe you want to put in an offer for 550 and see where that listing or that offer gets you. Okay. And again, guys, we do not want you to skip inspection. I have this conversation with a lot of our agents as well. One of the agents says, hey, sometimes it's a deal breaker. And the truth is, it is, right? But it still is our duty to make sure that we're putting our clients' interests, our best interest first. So the best thing for them is to do an inspection. What we do with the inspection is the secondary. But if we're telling them, hey, you don't need to do an inspection, you can skip an inspection, guys. There's so many other offers coming in. I really don't recommend that, right? Maybe that property is not for them. Maybe we have to find them another property where, the inspection is good, they're satisfied and they're making their decision. Sometimes the inspection report will have a lot of issues. We know that we can't fix them all. We just got to work on the major ones. But when you tell your clients to skip that, then we have no idea what was wrong about that property. Okay. All right, guys. Next is like what drives housing market? What is it really like, why people buy and sell, right? So if you're starting out a new life, let's say you got married or you have an increase in family, you have a new baby, you're going to be looking for a bigger place because you have to. It's a necessity, right? Maybe your job is, changing and you have to relocate. That might be another reason, right? Decrease. Maybe you want to downgrade, right? Because there's a decrease in family. Maybe there was a death or divorce in a family and they're not living together, right? Or maybe you actually have a hardship and you're going through a default through short sale or foreclosure, right? There's so many things that drive our housing market. We have to tap in and find out what your client situation is. Are they really, starting a new life? Are they really getting married right now, right? If they are, there's a good chance that maybe they were renting, living with their parents. They want to move out and buy a property. We had a family that was looking in New York, and all of a sudden they went to New Jersey to find it because it was not too far from their, from their husband and wife's jobs, right? They say, hey, instead of buying in New York, we're buying in New Jersey because they both of them work in the city, right? It really depends on what their situation is, okay? So again, know your clients, see where, what their situation is, guys. And there's a one thing we can talk about, like Queens, we can talk about Nassau, we can talk about other agents, but what you need to focus on is yourself. How is my market doing? What does my database look like? How many people are in my database, right? How many showings I'm doing per week, right? This is where you come in, right? How many people I'm talking to from the buyer side? How many people am I talking to the listing side? There are not a lot of people trying to list their property. Why we all should know this is because they're locked in at a low interest rate, right? If they're locked in at 3%, 4%, nobody wants to sell, guys, right? Every week we say this because those are facts, right? So you want to make sure that you can focus on the buyer side right now and still try to get listings if you can. But if you're doing no transaction, you should definitely be on the buyer side right now, okay? So you want to ask yourself, guys, like, let's just say we're talking about South Ocean Park, right? Like, what's the total, addresses in this market, right? A lot of them. How many transactions are being done in this market, right? How many homes are there, right? What is my goal, right? If I want to get 1%, 5%, 10% of that market, how could I do that? That is all on you guys. You have to say, hey, I want to be serving Nassau County, or I want to be serving Queens County, and I want to be in South Ocean Park, Richmond Hill. This is my area. I can easily show properties. But if you're not doing enough deals there, look for another area that you want to conquer. Okay? So no, it's a numbers game, guys. You need to have at least 10 conversations for at least 5 opportunities to come out of those, and maybe only 2 of them will do a business with you. So that means out of 10 conversations, you're going to be doing business with 2 people, right? Will that business actually close? We don't know. But there will be 2 people who are showing you interest and you might be able to close with them, right? Every listing, every sale, every appointment starts with a conversation. So if you're not trying to talk to your clients, you're not going to be closing any deals, right? What people are scared about, right? We all have that fear that, hey, I don't want to call someone. Why? Because they might hang up on me, or they might curse me out, or they might say, hey, I'm not ready, or whatnot, right? You're scared. You have that fear of rejection. It could be a loan officer when we're giving them leads, or it could be a real estate agent trying to get a listing, or even try to talk to them on the buyer side, right? So just know that they're not saying no to you. They're just not ready right now. They're not ready to buy. They're not ready to sell. Maybe it's not the right time to talk to them right now. And we say that, hey, there's so many clients or so many agents will simply give up after, first attempt, second attempt, and say, hey, I don't think I can do this, right? We can all train you guys, but you guys can actually have to do it your own. So when you hear that, or you are fearing the no's, that I'm not going to be able to help out this client, you can. You have all the tools. That's why you have a broker like myself, where we can help you guys out any step of the way, every step, right? If there's a problem, if me and Josh we can't help you, then what's the point of us actually saying that we can help you guys out, right? But talking to them, we just don't want you to have any fear when you're talking to any clients. You guys are licensed, you guys are professional, you guys have all the tools that a top agent would need, right? You guys not lacking anything. We just gotta have to start taking some action on that. Okay? If they're saying no, it's not no to you. It's they're not ready right now. Okay? So you gotta plan it out, guys. There's a through this slides I'm using is from Tom Ferry. You guys can Google him. He's a motivator. Gives out a lot of good stuff. So shout out to Tom Ferry. So he has this where it says focus on your dollar producing activities, right? What activities we should be doing for in order to bring in the commissions, right? We end of the day we're all doing this so we can make a living out of this, so we can feed our families as a real estate agent, right? So you have to plan that out, right? So for plan P is going to be your prospecting, right? A lot of people feel like, hey, I can't do it. I don't have enough time. If you're not doing this, there's nothing else that will work out, guys. Prospecting is the key. You have to talk to different people out there. It could be from your online leads, office leads, your database. Doesn't matter what it is. You have to be calling them. For L is going to be your lead follow-up, right? You don't want to miss out on any follow-up leads or any appointments, right? You want to be able to attend schedule your appointments, follow up with them, be there on time, show them how important you are. Okay? A is going to be your appointments, right? You should be going on more. If you haven't not went to any appointment for the listing side, you should make a goal that this month I want to go to a listing appointment. How do I get the listings? Right? We mentioned Mr. Ali as a listing agent because we have seen it year over year, knocking on doors, going to different different blocks and just hustling. So you guys have to do the same thing, guys. You have to prospect, you have to follow up, you have to go to appointments. And when the time comes, negotiation and closing deals, this is your end part, right? This is where we're going to be negotiating and closing. That part, like I said, is not as hard as your prospecting and follow up, because those are the hardest one, right? We always say this, when a client is going under contract, they're going under contract because of you as a real estate agent. You're the one who's bringing them to the closing table, or at least to the contract part. After that, you have your attorneys, your loan officers, and all the other parties, the title company, to make sure that everything else checks off. But you play such a big role in for them to go sign that contract, right? So plan that out. Make sure you're prospecting. Make sure you follow up with your leads. You're making appointments and you're negotiating. Okay. So when you're talking to clients, right, it could be a home seller. You can, when you're talking to them, you're asking them, you can ask them one question. You can ask them, hey, are you currently living in your dream house? Is this it, right? Maybe they've been living there for 5 years, 10 years. Maybe they do want to upgrade. Simple question. Are you currently living in your dream house or your dream home, right? If not, let's make that happen. Let me try to find you another property. Okay. Do you know you want to ask for referrals? So many people are scared about asking for referrals, right? Even when you're closing deals, we're not even asking for a Google reviews or a Zillow reviews. We have seen it over and over again, But we have to start focusing on the things that matter, right? One Google review or one Zillow review will stay there for years and years. So maybe down the line, when you look at your deals that you have closed, you can see all the reviews there. So when is the best time to ask for referrals? This is going to be at the closing table. When you're going to be asking for your reviews at the closing table or right after the closing, right? You don't want to wait too long. So what do you, how can you ask for referrals? Like, hey, this could be people that you work with, that people that you know from church, your family members, your friends, or even your neighbors, right? This is the people that you're actually working with, and you want referrals from them. Okay. So if you have a house, we said that one of the biggest dilemma that people have right now is that they're locked in a low interest rate, but they still have a number in mind. If you, let's say their property value is at 950, and Sclaren, you go there and you say, hey, I can get you $1 million, right, for this property. They had, and say, hey, maybe let me think about it, right? Maybe another Janet goes there and say, hey, I can get you 1.1. And she says, Janet, I'm going to give you this 1.1 listing. And hopefully Janet is in the right, where she did her research and is a realistic number. And, every seller out there has a number in their mind. We just need to figure out what that is. And you have to keep it realistic. You can't tell them, hey, you can get $2 million for this property, knowing the fact that it's worth only $500,000, right? That's not going to be realistic. Do your research, but talk to them and say, hey, what is your number? What's the number in your mind? Okay. So you want to get to know your clients, right? You want to know your customers have to like you. How are they going to like you? Hey, you're sending them properties all the time. You're like, hey, I like Carvin. He's been sending me messages all the time. Even though I'm not replying, he's consistent. He's sending me new properties all the time. I'm looking in Jamaica, Queens. He's sending me properties in Jamaica, Queens. Or if he's looking in Long Island, he's sending in Long Island, right? So he's and you're following it with them. The customer likes you. And how do you build trust? When you're doing everything by their side. Hey, I need you to do an inspection, right? I need you to make sure that you're protected. I need you to make sure that, hey, we're going to put in this offer, but I'm going to make sure that we have bank appraisal contingency in the contract. So this way, your whatever price we're putting in, our bank agrees with that. Those things, anytime you're saying anything on behalf of your client's best interest, you're building trust. Right? Simply put. On the other hand, if you're trying to hide things from them, right? You're showing them a property and you see there's a signs of water leakage and you're trying to ignore that. And you say, hey, it's not a big deal. Let's just go to the other room or let's go check the basement out or something. We have a problem. They can see that, hey, you're trying to avoid this. They can clearly see that. You're not building trust in that sense. Okay? So your clients, they have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you. Right? That's with any one of us. If you're trying to buy a house, you have to make sure these things check off from your agent. Okay. So now let's say you want to close 6 deals. If you're a brand new, obviously you have not closed any deals. If you are expert, maybe you have closed a lot more than 6, right? But let's say your goal is to close 6 deals this year. How are you going to make that happen? So just by using this chart here, all I did was put in 6. It did the calculation for me. So I say my goal, this year's goal is 6, right? 6 transactions. How many people do I need to talk to? How many in a whole year? That's 240 people. In a whole year, I have to talk to 240 people in order to close 6 deals, guys. Right? Some people say, hey, 240, that's just not possible. It is possible, guys. Okay? If you want to close 6 deals. So how many new prospects do you need on monthly basis? Around 22. So how many is that per day? Around 1. Right? 1.09, so at least 1. So that means you need to be talking to a new prospect on daily basis. At least one person on daily basis. Okay? In order for 6 deals to happen in a year. Those are just hard truth here. So some people say, hey, I have 20 people in my database. Nobody's interested. I don't think real estate is working out for me. For you, no, because you only have 20 people in your database. We need 200, right? So don't think that, hey, that limited database that you have is going to get you anywhere. you need to have more people in there. You have to start talking to new people and see how they, which level you can take them at. But six transactions, 240 conversations, right? Which is one a day. Okay. So how many hours are in a week, guys? I actually had to Google this too. 168 hours in a week, right? So how many hours are you putting into real estate activities per week? Right? People who are watching this recorded, same thing for you guys, right? Maybe you don't have the time to attend the Wednesday's meetings, right? But you're watching this recorded later on, right? Big ups to you guys. But at the same time, how many hours additional that you guys putting into real estate activities, right? How many hours are you putting in to follow up with your clients? How many hours are you putting in to show them properties, right? How many hours is that? If it's less than 10 guys, you're not going to get anywhere. So let's increase that, right? It doesn't have to be where, we want you to give up your full-time job or your part-time job that you have. No, we just want you to cut down on maybe Instagram or TikTok. We're not saying you are doing this. If you are, maybe you can cut down on social media and increase your hours in real estate and let that commission come in, right? So 168 hours in a week, maybe let's devote 20 of them towards your real estate activities. Okay. So this chart right here, this is a perfect example for any new real estate agent that we see. We have seen out of 72 agents, this is a chart that's perfectly, examines that. The green line here, this is what we expect, right? We want the green line to go up in one trend that we're starting at the bottom and we're going up. But majority of the time, we are seeing where the red line is going. We get super excited because we're brand new to real estate. Hey, we're going to make X amount of money. We're going to be closing deals. And then you're following up with your clients. You're not getting any feedback and you get discouraged. Once you get discouraged, you're going downhill, right? And that might go for a month or two, maybe 3 months, maybe 4 months, or maybe a couple of weeks, really depending on your situation. And then all of a sudden, one of your clients shows some interest and you're back in the game. They say, hey, I have a client or two now. All of a sudden, I'm going to start showing them. Once, let's say that client takes you to contract or you take them to the contract, and then again, the same thing go all over again. Couple of weeks or couple of months pass by, I don't have any new clients. All of a sudden, a client comes back up, and then you guys go back up. We want to change that. We want you to be consistent. So have a pipeline where you have someone that's going under contract. That means you can say, pat yourself on the back that, hey, I took this client to the contract. Let me start working on the next one, right? If you wait for the next one, when you say, hey, let me start working on the next one after the first one is under contract, it's already too late. So we need to know that the pipeline that you have, how many people are you showing and how many are going under contract. But when you have few of them that's going to be going under contract, look at the first stages as well. You need to have more and more people in your pipeline, right? We want you to close at least minimum of 6 deals in a year, guys. That is definitely possible. You guys can be on this green line here where the performance line is going. Okay. What your outcome should be, hey, what's the volume I'm doing, right? I sold $1 million house. I sold a $2 million house, $3 million. That's your volume, right? How many transactions are you closing? You want to have a goal of at least 6, right? How much commission I'm making. So whatever that commission amount is, you want to compare that with your other job that you have, right? Majority of our real estate agents have another part or full-time job. So you want to compare that. But once your checks start coming in, maybe you want to start devoting more times towards your real estate so those commissions can increase and you can decrease the other job that you have. If you can. If the other job is steady, you have no issues, then stick with that. You have to be selfish, and there's nothing wrong with that. But people who are serious about real estate, if you guys take some action, you can earn good amount of living out of this. Okay. Just to give you example for our agent Jennifer and our agent Ravi, both of these guys, husband and wife, both of them do very good amount of volume. Agent Ravi was agent of the year for last year. both of them, they are like a powerhouse. If there's any rentals, Jennifer says, hey, I'm only focusing on rentals, and she helps out her clients, landlord and tenant, and she has that business on repeat. And anything that's on the buying side or the selling side, Ravi handles that. We have few couples in our team here as well, and you guys can split that up too, right? We can learn from one team and implement that on yours and make a good living as a couple as well. Okay. This calendar was really good. You guys can copy this as well, or you guys can just download it from online, just basically from January until December, right? One is that you guys can put what is the amount that you guys want to close. Let's say in January, we are already in April here. So in May, how many deals that you want to close, right? Just set a goal. Just when you're writing a goal is a huge difference than just having it in your head. But I have learned that for past 10 years, anything that you're writing down is going to be a game changer. You will actually get it done. If you don't get it done, it will bother you, right? Internally, hey, I wrote this down, I haven't reached it. Maybe I'm going to reach that next month, right? Whatever the case is, once you keep talking about it in your head, you can get it done. But you have to plan it out and you have to write it down. Okay. So you have to ask yourself, hey, what do I need to do more of? Right? So, like we said, you have to divide up your hours. You are an independent contractor, right? Meaning you guys chose this field because you didn't want to go get a W-2 job, right? As a 1099, that means you have a lot of responsibility on your own, right? Disciplining yourself, basically, right? You want to make sure that, hey, you're focused on the right things, right? If it's just, hey, if you're not following up with your clients in the morning for 20 to 30 minutes, you're missing the whole boat, right? What's the point of doing everything else, checking your emails and all that, when someone else or Zillow or any of the other platforms is sending your clients new listings and you're not, right? Maybe some of these our agents think that, hey, the email is good enough. It's not. The system KV Core email is not good enough, right? We don't know if they're checking it or not, but a text message is a lot better, right? The conversion rate on a text message compared to an email is day and night. So you want to make sure any new listing that you see for your client, send that to them right away. Okay? You need to focus on what you need to do more of. And then you ask yourself, hey, what do I need to do less of? What I'm spending time on and I'm not converting. Maybe look at your last month. Maybe let's look at your last year, right? What have you done and what do you need to stop doing? There's some clients or some agents of ours who do not want to touch rentals, right? I'm okay with that as long as you guys are okay with it, right? But on the other hand, we see agents, like we just gave an example for Jennifer, that only focuses on rentals and makes a good living, right? It all depends on you guys. What do I need to do more of and what do I need to do less of? And so many people say that, hey, they're so positional, meaning they say, hey, I send out a mailer and, it didn't work out, so it doesn't work. I, did a Facebook ad or I did an Instagram ad and I got zero conversion, so I know it doesn't work, right? Just by one experience does not mean the whole system doesn't work, right? If postcards were not working and nobody had been doing it for years and years now, right? Maybe notice in your own household, did you receive a postcard from a real estate agent or a loan officer in the last 30 days? Majority of us did, right? Majority. I received at least 3 or 4 different ones already. So I know springtime is the time where we should be sending out postcards. This is the time to be advertising yourself out there and getting your name out there. We don't want you to spend any money when, after September, when the school starts and there's less conversion. Right now, this is where most people want to be moving when summertime comes before, the school starts. So let's spend some money, even if it's on Zillow. We're doing splits with you guys, helping you guys as on the mortgage side. So, if you want to spend some money on advertisement, this is the time to do it. Okay. If you want to get listings, guys, right? First, you have to talk to your past clients, your sphere. You want to get your name out there on video, on social media. You want to generate new business, right? Pick your area. Just like with the postcards we said, one area needs to hear from you at least a couple of times, at least 3 or 4 times minimum, in order for them to recognize who you are, right? So Harjeet, if you're sending out postcards in Long Island, you don't want to send the next batch in Queens. even that particular area that you're sending out, we want to send the next batch to the same area. It could be 30 days later, but we want to send it to the same area instead of doing it to the next batch. Okay. If you see any for sale by owner sign, guys, you guys are real estate agents, you guys can bring a lot of value to them. So tell them, hey, I see that you have a property for sale by owner, let me handle this for you, right? I know you want this much, let me try to get this much for you. You don't have to worry about any headaches, you don't have to worry about any of that from your clients, negotiation, everything. You're the one who's going to be making the decision, but I'm going to be representing you to make it smooth and steady for you. Okay. So guys, take some action, take some action, take some action, right? That's what we want you to do. And next is that our agents here, Paul Prasad has a listing where he has two properties. One of them is 60 by 100, another is 40 by 100, guys, a single family. This is a good for investors. Most of the investors that is going to buy the 60 by 100 lot most likely can build two family properties. Two family properties, right? 30 by 100, they can build two family. Another 30 by 100, they can build two family. So when you see a situation like this is what you got to be telling your clients. Hey, it's a big lot size. You're an investor. Maybe you can build two properties. Maybe they don't have to be detached. It might be attached. 30 by 100, 30 by 100, but they can build that. Okay. Next, we have Navpreet. She had this a rental that is available. You guys can reach out to her. This is by Diana, rental as well. We have coming soon from Mr. Ali here, 121 Street for 649. So you guys can reach out to Mr. Ali for this listing. We have another new listing by Daljit. This is in New Hyde Park. And this is a 40 by 100, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. So you guys can reach out to Daljit for this listing. Okay. And the last one is by AP Arshdeep here. And this is in Franklin Square, 65 by 100 lot size, 5 bedrooms, 2 baths. Okay. So guys, again, we want you to know that you will not seeing any commission, on MLS. One of our agent, she called the listing agent and said, hey, you're paying 1%. I would like to get paid 2%. Is that possible? I have a solid client, solid, offer for you. Could I get paid 2%? And the person came back and said, no, 1.5. I can pay you 1.5. And she agreed on that, right? Had she never asked for that, she would have got 1%. So the point here is everything is negotiable. So why not negotiate your commission? I don't care if you see it on MLS or not. We should be doing that from day one. I have a solid client. I have a solid offer for you. Hey, could I get paid X amount? Increase that. See what the listing agent says. The worst thing they can say is what? No, we're not going to pay you anything more, right? We're listing at 1%, or maybe down the line they'll say 0%. We're not going to pay you. Even when we're not seeing anything, negotiate. Even if you're going to get paid from the seller or from the buyer side, still try to get paid from the seller side. See what kind of a response that you get. Maybe they are desperate. Maybe they did not have any offers close to yours, right? We don't know that. So don't just assume that it says 1%, you're going to get 1%. You can get more by negotiating. Okay. Guys, presentation. A few of our agents already came to the office, are ready to go when they're talking to their client with their presentation. If you have not done that yet, please come to the office. Let's work on your presentation. Talk to me as a buyer, that I'm your buyer here. How would you try to convince me so I can sign your agreement? Okay. This is the last thing, guys, that we're going to be talking about. This is thanks to Mr. Ali and thanks to Mr. Hassan Raza. We made some changes on MLS, on our transaction desk, guys, where the exclusive right to represent agreement is, we're using another version of it, because the first version that we had, it had some wording in it where it was not unfavorable for your client, and we had to cross that out. But this one is a lot better. is already added as a template, but only for new files. Any new files that you will create, you will see this as a buyer side exclusive right to represent agreement, right? So what does that look like? So what does that look like? This looks like you're gonna put in your buyer's name, the company name, your name. I'm just using Superior as an example here. When does your agreement start and when does it end? And then it will give you your broker's obligation, what you as an agent have to do. Okay? And then it will have your client's obligation, what they have to do. And this is the most important part. And we were talking to Mr. Hassan here yesterday too. When we are filling out this commission, we only want to fill out percentages because we don't know what the final price will be. So we just want to say simply, hey, whatever you guys agree on, 1%, 2, 3, whatever it is. You just want to say, hey, I need to get paid X amount at the closing table of the purchase price. Okay? If you start putting the dollar amounts, that will confuse everyone. And on the bottom of it, you guys can see that you can check out what type of property it is, fill out this information, right? The buyer's criteria, which area they're looking for and everything, and have the buyer sign it. Simple as that. Okay. We're running out of time, guys, but this is the agreement that every one of us should be signing, getting signed by your clients. And it's called exclusive right to represent agreement. Okay. All right, guys, I do have more slides, but we are out of time now. But any questions, concerns, anything on your mind before we get going? All right, guys, I do appreciate every one of you guys attending this meeting. Thank you so much for joining. I will see you guys next time. You guys take care.